Picture the prehistoric world. You're probably imagining a T-Rex stalking through a dense green jungle. But if you rewind 300 million years, long before the first dinosaur hatched, the life forms dominating the planet would look entirely alien to us today. Welcome to the Permian Period. Looking at this map, you can see all of Earth's landmasses fused together into one massive supercontinent called Pangaea. It took up a full third of the planet's surface and was completely surrounded by a single, unbroken global ocean known as Pangaea. As you can see by this thermometer overlay, the early Permian was chilly. The planet was just coming out of a long ice age, with global average temperatures hovering around a brisk 4 degrees Celsius. But that frost wouldn't last. Over the next 50 million years, the planet entered a phase of relentless warming that eventually triggered the Great Dying, the most catastrophic mass extinction event in Earth's history. To understand how early life conquered this sprawling supercontinent and why it eventually collapsed, we have to track the volatile shifts in its atmosphere and temperature. About 290 million years ago, the warming climate caused the ancient swamp forest to dry out. Plant life had to adapt to survive away from the water. Enter the gymnosperms. These were the planet's very first seed-bearing plants, using cones to reproduce and spread across the drying continent. This chart shows how the lush, warming environment fueled some significant evolutionary leaps. Compare the household pest you know today to its Permian ancestor. These early cockroaches thrived in the vegetation and grew to the size of modern birds. Fortunately, giant bugs didn't rule this landscape. That title belonged to Dimetrodon. Growing to 5 meters long and weighing 225 kilograms, this mammalian ancestor was the apex predator, stalking prey with a sprawling, crocodile-like walk. Looking at this schematic of the Dimetrodon's spinal sail, you can see how it functioned in a shifting climate. Scientists believe the sail allowed the reptile to soak up solar warmth during the day and release excess heat into the cooler night air. Every creature in this era was locked in an arms race with the weather. Survival meant developing physical traits capable of managing the heat of a rapidly warming world. This graph tracks exactly how aggressive that global warming became. By the middle of the Permian, driven by volcanoes pumping greenhouse gases into the air, average global temperatures had soared from the icy baseline up to a sweltering 25 degrees Celsius. The changing ecosystem gave rise to a new group of dominant creatures, the therapsids. These were mammal-like reptiles equipped with strong jaws and a more upright stance, keeping their legs situated directly underneath their bodies to move more efficiently over land. But the atmosphere was quickly degrading. As the chart expands, you can see the temperature continuing to climb, while atmospheric oxygen levels plummeted. Constant, immense volcanic activity displaced the air, driving oxygen down to just 10%, less than half of what we breathe today. Survival became a struggle as the global thermometer hit 28 degrees Celsius. Small herbivores, like the Lystroceros, evolved powerful front legs to burrow into the dirt for relief, while the whiskered rodent-like Cynodon stayed incredibly small and hunted insects to get by in the thin air. By the late Permian, Pangaea had shifted from a lush cradle into an environment of extreme heat and low oxygen. The biosphere was being pushed toward a systemic collapse. That collapse finally arrived 252 million years ago. Massive continental-scale fissures tore open across Pangaea. These explosive eruptions were incredibly violent, unleashing immense volumes of lava and debris. The first blow came from the ash cloud. Billions of tons of it swept into the upper atmosphere, blocking the sunlight and causing a sudden drop in temperature. Without light, plants could no longer perform photosynthesis. As they died off, the foundation of the food chain vanished, and animals soon followed. Looking at this cycle, you can see how the disaster evolved. Once the ash settled, the volcanic carbon dioxide remained in the air. This trapped the sun's heat, driving the planet into a state of extreme greenhouse hyperwarming. This spike in temperature hit the superocean, Pangaea, especially hard. As the water warmed, it lost its ability to hold oxygen. Unable to breathe, the majority of marine animals perished in the stagnant water. These pie charts reveal the final statistical toll of the Great Dying. More than 95% of marine species and over 70% of land animals were erased from the fossil record. the Permian era ended with a biosphere pushed beyond its limits. By the time the atmosphere stabilized, the dominant proto-mammals were gone, leaving behind a vacant landscape that paved the way for the eventual rise of the dinosaurs.